Have you ever felt like you're drowning while everyone around you assumes you're an excellent swimmer? As if there's some unwritten law dictating that the stronger you appear, the less others notice when you're crumbling inside? Picture this scene. You're surrounded by people sharing their struggles, fears, and insecurities. There you are, nodding compassionately, offering your shoulder to lean on. You're so strong, they tell you. I don't know what I'd do without you. Yet while you provide comfort to others, a silent storm brews within you. Who comforts the comforter? This phenomenon has been captured with remarkable precision in Fyodor Dostoevsky's literary universe. The great Russian novelist had an uncanny ability to portray characters who maintain flawless external composure while being torn apart inside. Prince Mishkin in The Idiot exemplifies this perfectly. A figure of almost supernatural kindness who absorbs others' suffering without ever burdening them with his own. His unlimited compassion becomes both his greatest virtue and his ultimate downfall. Emotional silence represents a form of collapse that makes no sound. It's like the proverbial tree falling in an uninhabited forest. Did it make a sound if no one was there to hear it? Pain that remains unvalidated and unwitnessed creates a uniquely devastating form of suffering. We don't merely suffer, we suffer in isolation, convinced that our role is precisely this: to endure, to hold on, to bear it all. This pattern particularly affects empathetic individuals, those who have naturally become pillars for others. They are the parents who sacrifice everything for their children, the friend who always answers the phone at 3 a.m., the older sibling who was never allowed to be a child. They're the professionals who carry the weight of entire teams. They're the ones everyone seeks when life falls apart, but who rarely find someone when their own walls are crumbling. The cruelest aspect of this pattern is that these people rarely ask for help. Not out of pride, but because they've deeply internalized that their role in the world is to be the immovable rock amid the storm. They've learned to swallow their tears, suppress their screams, and transform their pain into strength. Over time, they become almost invisible in their own suffering. In Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment, Sonia Marmeladova exemplifies the person who takes on everyone else's burdens, even when it means slowly destroying herself. She sacrifices for her family, endures humiliation, and still has the strength to offer redemption to Raskolnikov. But this type of self-sacrifice, while noble in appearance, can lead to a profound existential crisis. This kind of silence is dangerous. It's like a dammed river that will inevitably overflow. How long can we pretend we're fine while drowning inside? Continuously suppressing our needs isn't nobility. It's a path to an existential void that Dostoevsky understood all too well. If you identify with this pattern, begin by recognizing the signs. Constant exhaustion that no rest seems to cure. The feeling of always being on, even when you should be relaxing. Difficulty asking for help even with the simplest tasks. The habit of minimizing your own struggles with phrases like, "It's nothing," or "I've been through worse." The uncomfortable truth is that no one can be strong forever, not even you, who has become the safe harbor for so many. There's no heroism in ignoring your own wounds. In fact, true strength lies in recognizing when you need help, when your cup is too empty to continue serving others. Through his profound narratives, Dostoevsky teaches us that complete humanity isn't found in bearing burdens alone, but in sharing the weight of existence. True heroism isn't never falling. It's allowing yourself to be supported when your legs weaken. Because in the end, silence isn't protection. It's a self-imposed prison. The solitude of strength. There's a painful contradiction in being considered the strong one in any group. It's as if you've received a medal of honor that actually weighs like an anchor. You're so strong, they say. The unspoken translation, so you don't need help like others do. It's a compliment that, ironically, distances you from the support you sometimes desperately need. The family's strong one often carries stories of premature surrender of their childhood. It's that child who matured too early to care for younger siblings. The daughter who learned to manage everything because her mother worked 2 jobs. At work, it's the person who gets impossible tasks because they always find a way. Among friends, it's the one who's always available to listen, but rarely asked how they're really doing. This phenomenon goes beyond simple resilience or the ability to withstand adversity. It represents a fundamental distortion in how these people are seen and treated. It's as if there's an invisible hierarchy of emotional needs, where those of the strong ones are always relegated to the bottom of the list. Others need more becomes the mantra that justifies self-neglect. The loneliness accompanying this role is particularly acute. As observed through Dostoevsky's introspective characters, there's a type of isolation that occurs not in the absence of people, but in the absence of true understanding. You can be surrounded by people who admire your strength without having anyone who actually sees your fragility. Especially dangerous is when the strong person internalizes this expectation, when they begin to believe that showing vulnerability is a form of weakness or betrayal to those who depend on them. Then develops an inflexible internal dialogue. I can't break down. Others count on me. If I show weakness, everything will collapse. This severe inner voice becomes a relentless jailer. The weight of being strong also manifests physically. The body keeps the score of truths the mind tries to hide. Chronic tension in the shoulders and neck, frequent headaches, unexplained digestive problems, insomnia. These are somatic manifestations of accumulated stress, signals of an overloaded nervous system. The body begs for rest, while the mind insists, not yet, others need me. Thus, a perverse cycle is created. The more you demonstrate the capacity to endure, the more responsibilities are assigned to you. The more you silence your pain, the less others imagine you might be suffering. It's as if there's an unspoken social contract. Your reward for being strong is receiving more weight to carry. Dostoevsky, with his acute perception of the human condition, understood that this dynamic isn't sustainable. In his works, characters who try to be too strong inevitably reach a breaking point. And often, when this rupture occurs, it's devastating, because it was preceded by years of silent accumulation. In the brothers Karamazov, we see how redemption comes not from proud isolation, but from sincere communion with other equally imperfect human beings. Real strength lies not in distancing oneself from vulnerability, but in embracing it as part of what makes us human. But there is a way to break this cycle. It's not about ceasing to be strong or abandoning those who need you. It's about redefining what true strength means. Authentic strength isn't the absence of vulnerability. It's the courage to acknowledge it. It isn't enduring everything alone. It's knowing when and how to ask for help. It isn't never faltering. It's allowing yourself to be human, with all the limitations that implies. Finding balance between caring for others and yourself isn't selfishness. It's necessity. Compassion that doesn't include oneself isn't complete. Love that extends to everyone except the one offering it is, in a way, a contradiction. It's time for you, who always supports others, to create space for your own humanity. Allow yourself not to have all the answers. Allow yourself to ask for help. Allow yourself to be seen not only in your strength but also in your limitations. Because it's in the integration of these two faces that we find our complete humanity. Breaking the silence. Throughout Dostoevsky's novels, we witness pivotal moments when characters, after years of self-imposed silence, finally break their emotional dams. These are always moments of profound transformation, often chaotic, but necessary. The confession, the unburdening, the long-contained cry, when they finally find voice, they liberate. The first step to break the cycle of silence is the most difficult, recognizing that your pain deserves attention just as much as others. This may seem obvious in theory, but for someone who has spent years or decades prioritizing others' needs, this represents an internal revolution. It's like learning a new language as an adult, uncomfortable, strange, full of hesitations. When we examine characters like Dmitry Karamazov or Nastasia Filipovna, we see that the process of finding a voice for silenced suffering isn't linear or elegant. It's complex, often awkward, and may even intensify suffering before relieving it. But it's a necessary path to true liberation. One of the greatest obstacles for those who have always been strong is the fear of disappointing others. What if I'm no longer useful when I show my weaknesses? What if they abandon me when they realize I need support too? These doubts are understandable but usually unfounded. True relationships survive and even strengthen when there's reciprocity and vulnerability. When you begin to break the silence, something important happens. You give permission for others to do the same. It's like lighting a small flame in a dark chamber. Suddenly, others feel safe to bring their own torches. Your courage in showing vulnerability creates a safe space where other, silent, strong ones can also lower their guards. There's profound wisdom in recognizing your own limits. Contrary to what many fear, admitting we can't carry everything doesn't diminish our strength in others' eyes. It reveals our common humanity. As Dostoevsky suggests through his most complex characters, it's precisely in our capacity to feel pain and seek connection that our humanity is most fully revealed. The journey to break emotional silence begins with small steps. It's not necessary, nor advisable, to expose all your vulnerabilities at once. It starts with honest conversations with trusted people. I'm going through a difficult time and needed to share this with someone. Usually I'm the one who listens, but today I need to be heard. Simple phrases that open doors to deeper connections. Another fundamental practice is learning to perceive and honor your own signs of exhaustion. The body speaks when the mind insists on keeping quiet. That persistent headache, that unusual irritability, that fatigue no rest seems to cure. These are internal alarms, signaling it's time to take care of yourself. Learn to listen to these signals before they turn into deafening sirens. Dostoevsky's psychological analyses show us that consistently ignoring our own needs isn't nobility. It's a subtle form of self-sabotage. In Crime and Punishment, we see how Raskolnikov tries to rationalize his suffering, deny it, overcome it through sheer willpower, only to discover that true redemption comes from honest recognition of his condition. Developing the ability to ask for help is a skill, and like any skill, it improves with practice. At first it may feel uncomfortable, like using long dormant muscles. Fear of appearing weak or incapable may arise. But over time, you'll realize there's a peculiar strength in knowing when to step back, when to share the load, when to simply say, "Today, I need help." Building emotional self-care rituals is equally important. Set aside regular moments to check in with your own feelings, without judgment or self-criticism. Ask yourself, how am I really feeling today? And give that question the same weight and attention you would if you were asking someone you deeply love. In Dostoevsky's worldview, suffering has no intrinsic value. What matters is what we do with it. Silent suffering that corrodes from within without transforming, without connecting, without generating understanding, is particularly sterile. It's shared suffering, recognized and integrated into common human experience, that can become a path to greater depth and connection. Breaking the silence doesn't mean transforming into someone who constantly talks about their problems or seeks to be the center of attention. It's simply recognizing that your experience, in both joy and pain, deserves space and validation in the world. It's understanding that, as Dostoevsky would say, each human being carries a universe within, and no universe should exist in perpetual darkness. It's important to remember that this process of finding a voice for silence doesn't happen overnight. There will be stumbles, relapses into the old pattern of bearing everything quietly. There will be moments when the fear of being vulnerable will seem greater than the desire for authenticity. This is normal. It's part of the journey. What matters isn't perfection, but consistent movement toward a more integrated and honest life. The most powerful legacy Dostoevsky leaves us through his literature is the understanding that there's no true strength without vulnerability, no true connection without authenticity, no true life without the courage to be seen, completely seen, in our imperfect and wonderful humanity. And perhaps the most transformative lesson is this: when we finally allow our pain to be seen and heard, We discover we're not as alone as we thought. That many others, apparently strong and unshakable, silently carry their own burdens. And that there's a profound solidarity born when we allow ourselves to be simply human together. Not heroes, not unshakable pillars, just human beings doing the best they can with the burdens life has given them. You, who have always been the strong one, the pillar, the rock, your pain matters. Your exhaustion deserves attention. Your limits deserve respect. And your voice, silenced for so long, deserves to be heard. If this video touched something deep within you, if you recognized yourself in these words, leave in the comments. I too carry in silence. Let's create together a space where the strong can also rest, where pillars can also be supported, where those who always listen can finally be heard. If this content impacted you, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and share with someone who might need to hear they're not alone in their silent fortress. Until the next video,